The time is 4:30. This is WKYT This Morning. Hundreds of customers were without power all night long. More on the crash that caused the outage just ahead this morning.
A Lexington neighborhood prone to flooding may soon be getting a fix. How the city's new stormwater project could help coming up.
And today, Powell County community members will be gathering. They'll be discussing that oily residue left behind by a lightning strike. More on the cleanup they're facing ahead on WKYT This Morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you. Wednesday, it's August 3rd, and we're glad you're on WKYT. I'm Bill Bryant.
I'm Rebecca Smith. Hope you're having a fabulous start to your day, starting to think about back to school for a lot of parents and kids.
Yeah, Estill County going back today, so an additional district opening up. It's that time of year. Let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harris, see what's up with the weather.
Well, the good news here is the kids going off to the bus stop, or you taking the kids to school, you'll have no problems whatsoever. I do want you to look back toward West Virginia. You see those few blips there showing up in between Charleston and also Ashland rolling down 64. That is going to throw off a couple of showers back toward eastern Kentucky, so there is a small chance of rain today, and it's mainly east of I-75. So temperatures this morning in the 70s and a little patchy fog here and there. There's that small chance like I was talking about at 88 degrees. So today is mainly dry. Today is the day you knock out some outdoor plans because next few days there is the possibility storms rolling back in here. We'll get into that forecast coming up.
All right, we'll see in a bit. Hundreds of homes and businesses in Lexington are still without power this morning after a crash last night.
It happened about 8:30 last night on South Broadway near Pine Street. Police say the crash caused a car to flip and hit a utility pole there. WKYT's Monique Blair talked to some people who live in the area.
Oh gosh, it was very scary because this actually is the second wreck in this spot within the last 2 weeks. Lexington police say around 8:30 Tuesday night, a van was turning from Pine Street onto South Broadway when it failed to yield to a stop sign, moving into the path of this SUV, causing the SUV to run into this power line and then flip onto its side. I saw a man. I didn't see him get out of the car. I saw him fall back on the ground. Looked scared. He didn't look hurt or anything, but he did look very shooken up. Police say luckily nobody was hurt, but the driver of the van was arrested on suspicion of drunk driving. Police say the outbound lanes of South Broadway will be shut down for several hours, and the inbound lanes are going to continue to be open to only one lane for several hours. Most people will be without power until a new pole is installed. It's estimated to be done about 6 o'clock this morning. Well, people who live in a Lexington neighborhood say flooding has been a problem for years.
And heavy rain has often caused streets, even homes, to flood in the Joyland neighborhood. But Lexington city leaders say they're making some changes to try to end that problem. A new stormwater project is now underway. Our Garrett Weimer talked to people in the neighborhood who say it'll be a welcome sight.
Flooding has plagued this neighborhood in years past, turning streets to streams, yards to pools. Paul Sims moved here less than a year ago, but it didn't take long for him to find that out himself.
It was about 2 weeks after we moved in. We had a heavy rain and it flooded down the end of the street and went into the neighbor's crawl space. And we knew instantly something, there was an issue with water level in this area.
Crews worked along Cabot and Kent Drives on Tuesday. The project will add storm drains, larger drainage pipes, and an underground culvert to help with the high water. Neighbors say it's long overdue. The Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, sued the city of Lexington 10 years ago, claiming the city violated the Federal Clean Water Act. A settlement between the city and the EPA required Lexington to take steps and spend hundreds of millions of dollars to fix the city's sewer and stormwater problems. The city says it's paying for the nearly $3 million project with money from the stormwater management fee.
It needed to happen. It's painful to go through when as all of us in the neighborhood know, but when it gets done and all finished, we feel that it will be nice and accomplish what they want to.
In Lexington, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
And the city says the project should be finished in early November. Some people in a Powell County neighborhood are still cleaning up the mess caused by a lightning strike. Investigators say lightning hit a gas substation of a pipeline on Highway 15 Monday, causing an oily substance to spew into the air. Much of it landed on some nearby homes. Investigators say they're still trying to figure out if the oily substance is dangerous in any way. One homeowner said the owner of the pipeline, Kinder Morgan, offered to pay for the costs of leaving her home for the time being.
They didn't say it was any type of evacuations, but they did act like it was kind of encouraged to get our kids out of the smell.
Kinder Morgan says there are no current dangers to the community, but the Powell County Judge Executive says he wants more evidence to back up that claim. He has scheduled a public meeting for today at 5 o'clock at the Clay City Municipal Building. Anyone with concerns about the issue is invited to be there.
A state trooper happened to be in the right place at the right time when a father and daughter became trapped by high water in Pulaski County.
My car was parked out, and I came back to get it just a minute ago, and I tried to cross, and it's just too deep. There's water coming in the doors, and me and my daughter are in the vehicle right now.
Scary situation for them. That's the 911 call the father made after he and his 3-year-old daughter got stuck under a bridge near Science Hill early yesterday morning. Trooper Adam Childress just happened to be patrolling nearby and rushed to the scene for the rescue.
Dad handed the daughter through the window to me, and I carried her, keeping her above the water because she was cold and panicked. I kept her above the water.
Yikes. Police say the father climbed onto the roof of the car, eventually made it to safety. Neither he or his daughter were injured.
A man was sent to the hospital after a crash that shut down a busy Harrison County road for hours. Investigators say late yesterday afternoon, a dump truck and a pickup collided on US 62 a few miles east of Cynthiana. The crash caused the dump truck to end up on its side, spilling its load of rocks. The Harrison County emergency manager says the driver of the pickup was taken to the hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The road was closed until crews could clean up the rocks, and it reopened about 8:30 last night. A man accused of killing a northern Kentucky couple whose bodies are still missing will be in court today. Kentucky State Police have charged Craig Pennington with the murders of Bobby Jones and Crystal Warner in Washington County. The couple has been missing for nearly a month, but the family says they are not giving up the search for Jones and Warner's bodies. They're planning another search this weekend. 2 people have been charged in connection to a robbery at a Laurel County store. The Laurel County deputies say they arrested Jason Wells and Lori Eversole yesterday afternoon. Investigators say late Tuesday, a robber used force to steal a money bag from a clerk at the corner market on Highway 830. They say Wells stole the money and Eversole drove the getaway car.
Kentucky native and Medal of Honor recipient Dakota Meyer is weighing in on some controversial comments Donald Trump made. The Republican presidential nominee has taken heat for criticizing the parents of a Muslim American soldier killed in combat after the father said Trump had sacrificed nothing. That was at the DNC. Remember that? In a tweet yesterday, Meyer said if Trump wanted to be the commander-in-chief, he needs to act like one. He called on Trump to apologize to the soldiers' parents. Trump did not mention the controversy during a rally in Virginia yesterday, but Democrats are not letting go of the issue. After his rally in Virginia yesterday, Trump was asked about some criticism he's received for not serving in the military during the Vietnam War. Trump said he was fortunate he didn't have to go to Vietnam, but he says in some ways he regrets not serving. Well, it is the first day of school for kids in Estill County today.
And while many schools in our region have their first day on August 10th, a week away, a handful are starting back this week. You can see the list of school start dates for Central and Eastern Kentucky on WKYT.com. Hey, it's great to have you along with us this morning. 4:39 is the time, and WKYT this morning is just getting started.
It's one of the most common forms of punishment for young children, but are you doing the timeout correctly? That's coming up.
And we're not seeing much in the way of any rain today. There's only a very small chance, especially back toward eastern Kentucky, but this is the day you take advantage of, because after today, storms move on in. We'll get into that forecast coming up.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Not a bad looking Wednesday in store, and actually yesterday afternoon was really nice. It felt all right. It looked all right. I know we had the clouds out and about, but those clouds helped us keep those temperatures down just a bit. Here's Defender Radar Network Nothing going on this morning. We are pretty calm and quiet. Kids going back to school early this morning. If some of you are, Estill County, I know you guys are. But if anybody else, well, just know that, yeah, you're going to be dry early in the morning. But I will tell you this, once we approach the afternoon hours, here's the movement of these. And this is exactly the route it will take. So it's not moving off into eastern Kentucky and just continue to travel westbound, but it is just kind of wrapping around and just sliding back on through Virginia area. So eastern Kentucky, no doubt about it, you will have a passing shower or thunderstorm, at least the chance. That doesn't mean 100% of you will. It just means there's a chance that back toward the east we could have one of those showers, stray showers or thunderstorms today. 70 degrees now, and Jackson is going to be very foggy once you walk out the door there in Jackson. And Frankfort, little fog there. I ran into some patchy fog here in Lexington. It's not much, but it's just kind of hit and miss here and there. So we travel through your day. Not much of a chance of rain today. We get into the afternoon. Like I said, a small chance, and it's mainly for eastern Kentucky and mainly during that afternoon hour. Once we hit the evening hours, they slowly fade away off into the night, and I'm not seeing any problems until we hit tomorrow morning. Now, tomorrow morning, we'll actually see a few rumbles of thunder slide on in, and so Thursday and Friday, look for a few more storms sliding in. It's not a great chance of rain, about 40%, but still, if you're part of that 40%, you're talking about some really heavy rain. So if you're trying to do some yard work, do it today because there's only a small chance of rain, and none of that's really going to affect you or wash you out. I would knock it out today, Thursday and Friday. A little better opportunities of seeing some of those spotty storms slide on through. What about your weekend forecast? Well, let's check out your 7-day. So small chance today, and then Thursday and Friday, little better opportunity to see some storms slide on in. And once we travel off into Saturday, it's really Friday night into Saturday morning, start to see a front move on in. This is not so much a cold front. This is just a frontal boundary sliding on in, and it'll take care of temperatures by a degree or two, and that's it. It's more about knocking out the storms in the forecast. And there is still a 40% chance of rain there on Saturday. Trying to make those plans, just know this, on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, guys, heavy downpours if you are under one of those thunderstorms. So that's what we need to be watching for the next few days.
If you luck out or unluck out. Right?
That's right. It's all about perspective, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Micah. It's 4:45 here in just a couple of seconds on WKYT. Timeouts can be an effective form of punishment for young children.
In today's Mom's Everyday Minute, tips to make it work for you and your family.
Timeout is probably the most often used and maybe the most often misused strategy for managing young children's behavior. Parents have all heard about timeout, they've all learned about timeout, and some of them do it really well, and for some parents there's some room for improvement. Timeout is often misused because timeout isn't actually timeout from reinforcement. The technical term for timeout is timeout away from reinforcing or fun activities. The two things that parents have the most difficulty with when it comes to timeout are keeping them in timeout and finding a location that's suitable for timeout. What typically happens is a parent will send a child to timeout, and there's all kinds of things that are happening that do not keep the timeout location as isolated or as quiet as it should be. With timeout, nothing should happen. And when I say nothing, the child shouldn't be able to see what else is going on in the room. They shouldn't be able to talk to others. They shouldn't have others approaching them. That includes the dog, the cat, anything else that's going on in the home. If timeout's going to be effective, the child really needs to be spending time by themselves, and there needs to be nothing happening.
For these tips and more, go to WKYT.com, click on Moms Every Day.
All right, it has to be pretty stark and strict, it sounds like, there for the timeout to work. 4:46 now on WKYT this morning, and we have a lot more news in just a moment.
More American cities are taking precautions as the Zika virus grows. We get the latest on the outbreak when we come back this morning.
Kentucky mornings start here. You're watching WKYT this morning.
Florida health officials say there are now at least 15 cases of Zika in the Miami area. They think the cases were likely transmitted by mosquitoes.
Big concern, this outbreak is now prompting health leaders in other parts of the country to step up efforts to get rid of mosquitoes. Weijia Jiang has the latest from Miami.
Transmission of the Zika virus through mosquito bites has only occurred in Florida, but communities around the country are taking action. New York City is using special tablets to kill off mosquito larvae in its subway system. Standing water is a prime breeding ground.
We've dealt with enough crises that we know the best way to deal with a crisis is to prevent it and to get ahead of it.
Trucks are also spraying to kill mosquitoes in neighborhoods in Queens. In New Orleans, private companies are seeing a spike in business. Many nervous homeowners want to make sure their property gets treated.
I certainly think that local backyard spraying is probably not a bad thing to do. I'm doing it.
On Wednesday, crews here in Miami will begin aerial spraying of repellent in a 10-square-mile area surrounding the so-called Zika zone. The CDC is urging pregnant women to avoid the area because Zika is linked to microcephaly, a birth defect that leaves babies with unusually small heads. Visitors are getting the message.
Florida is warm and hot, so I got repellent. I took repellent with me.
But the CDC is concerned that the mosquito carrying the Zika virus may be resisting insecticides. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Miami.
And President Obama has asked Congress to approve nearly $2 billion to fight the Zika virus, but lawmakers left for a summer break without taking any action. Starbucks is recalling millions of stainless steel straws. The company sold those straws online and in its stores. Starbucks leaders say they have received 3 reports of children suffering mouth lacerations while using the straws. The company is recalling more than 2 million straw sets. The straws have a ridge at the bottom that keeps them attached to the beverage lids. A Richmond man is among more than a dozen people now facing federal charges in connection to an illegal gambling ring. Jason Taylor has been charged with transmitting wagering information and taking part in an illegal gambling business. Investigators say Taylor was a bookie for high-stakes bettors in an operation that was based out of California. Last week, the FBI raided a business. Investigators say it was used as a front for the operation. If convicted, the government could seize Taylor's assets, including his home in Richmond.
Many people in Scott County say it's time for a new high school there, but they can't agree on how to pay for it. At a town hall meeting last night, Scott County Superintendent Kevin Hubb talked about proposed funding for a new school. He's asking for an increase in the property tax to pay for bonds to cover the $48 million needed to build a new school.
I think there's a great need for a second high school, not only because of our student population, but because we're a community that's growing so fast. Whether it's tomorrow or 2 years from now or 4 years from now, it's my belief that we need to get in front of this.
Some people at the meeting said they're against raising taxes to build a school. The school board will vote on the tax hike proposal on August 18th. They hope that a new high school can be built by August 2018. Magoffin County schools have cut a ribbon on a new high school. More than 700 students will attend the new Magoffin County High School. The building includes 3 science labs and 3 computer labs, and also a basketball gym that can seat up to 2,000 people. Magoffin County schools have their first day back on August 11th.
All right, so next week they'll be ready to go up there. Coming up next, we'll have a look at some of the stories our news team is working on for you this morning.
We'll have another look at your morning forecast.
It's 4:56, bright and early on your Wednesday, and we're glad you're with us on WKYT August 3rd.
Yeah, I hope you're having a great start to your day. It's time right now to take a look at some of the stories we're working on for you this morning.
Well, our news team is busy. A man accused of killing a sleeping 6-year-old boy last December is going to be appearing before a Woodford County judge today. More on what can be expected today in court. That's coming up in our next half hour.
Hundreds of customers in Lexington were without power all night after a car crashed and snapped a utility pole. The latest on the outage ahead on WKYT this morning.
This may be the break we've been hoping for in weather, and maybe a nice day all day. Let's check in with Micah on that.
Yeah, and like you said, all day, and that's really what we've been talking about. Is yesterday we had a few showers back toward eastern Kentucky, southeastern Kentucky. That was your best opportunity, and most of us stayed dried yesterday. Today we're going to do it exact same way. Eastern Kentucky, there is that slightest chance that you could see a passing shower as you see that inching closer and closer toward our bluegrass state, and the eastern zones heads up for a passing shower or storm. So that's really going to be the case later on this afternoon. Temperatures there in the mid to upper 80s. Most of us are just going to deal with that heat. It's upper 80s. That's just a few degrees above average. It's not scorching hot, though, but that small chance of rain is there. Enjoy it while it lasts, because we hit Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Things will change. Here comes some more storms. We're going to go over that in your forecast coming up with another 2 hours of WKYT News.